Virtual reality, the next level of gaming. For a long time, virtual reality was synonymous with the evolution of gaming, the next step up. But as time has gone on, VR seems to have faded, to have died. Companies aren't making new headsets, games don't loom as large, and most importantly, the people are not talking about it. So, what the heck happened to VR? By the end of this video, we'll answer that question, along with how I swear I'm not crazy. VR was a huge deal just a few years ago. But now, I'm not hearing much about it. It's like companies are giving up on virtual reality. To understand why companies like Meta are giving up on virtual reality, we first have to understand where VR came from. It's the 60s and it's a great time for technology. I'm pretty sure. I know they had the Beatles. The very first VR headset was the Sword of Damocles, which is an insane name for something that's not a sword. It had to be held up by a huge crane and it could simulate simple environments, way ahead of its time. Unfortunately, it cost about 80 grand to be built in 1968, which is just about $770,397 in today's money. And that's not exactly marketable. I mean, I could afford it. My credit card has $1 million on it, but not everyone can shop in that price range. The Sword of Damocles proved that VR wasn't just a piece of science fiction like narwhals or gravity. VR gaming was coming sooner or later, and it was only a matter of time before a company created it. It's the 90s now, and hold on, that sounds more like 80s music. No, that's 70s. Okay, now we're just back to 60s music, come on. All right, yep, that sounds about right for the 90s. Game companies start catching on to the possibilities of VR gaming. Virtuality Group made an attempt at VR and it was mildly successful, but nothing to write home about. There was, however, another company that took a big swing at VR and failed completely. Nintendo! The Virtual Boy was the first true VR headset, except you technically couldn't move around while using it, and you technically couldn't even strap it to your head, and also you technically could only see things in black and red color. But other than that, we had achieved true virtual reality and everyone loved it. Okay, that's not true. People hated it, and it had some pretty bad side effects too. Severe eye strain, headaches, and nausea plagued users. Those are just the simple side effects too. Irritability, paranoia, murderous rage, instant combustion, and evil were on the more serious side of things. Funny enough, I actually have a Virtual Boy right here. This is a real, and I want to emphasize this, a real Virtual Boy. So let's go and try it on. I gotta kneel down because I can't strap it to my head. All right, well, I'm trying it on. Hey, this isn't so bad. Okay, those more serious side effects weren't technically true, but one thing about the Virtual Boy was clear. VR had a long way to go. Now let's skip ahead a bit because virtual reality didn't really kick off until a few decades later. In the mid-2010s though, something big hit the gaming scene. Oculus, a small startup company, announced the Oculus Rift, a gaming headset that could plug into a PC and play real VR games. All you had to do was have a PC, set up these trackers, and have enough space in your room, and you were good to go. I remember being a young kid thinking this was the future. Super Hot and Job Simulator, the only VR games I knew of, were magical. Super Hot allowed you to really engage yourself in the VR experience, and Job Simulator was a job. Working at a real job. No, absolutely not. Those things are miserable. Working at a fake job though, I think I like the sound of that. As a matter of fact, I haven't played these games in a while, so let's take a quick look at them. Here I am in Job Simulator. I'm sure you've seen this game before. It's a great game. It's very silly. You can see I'm supposed to be a robot, I think. So is this guy. This guy's also a robot. And as you can see, I'm pretty goated at this game. It's not a hard game, I will be honest. We're gonna try the most iconic of the Job Simulator games quick, Store Clerk. Please excuse me, sir, I'm trying to get a rapport with the viewers going. Okay, thank you. See, this game was so important to the formative years of VR because it was such a simple game. It was the first time you could interact with a game like this. I mean, look, I can take his monocle and it just wasn't a thing that you could do. And now I feel like this game is a little bit obsolete because it's such a simple game. But to be able to interact with everything in this way, like I said, was crazy. Oh yeah, baby. This is what it's all about. Super Hot. Super Hot was the VR game. Alongside Job Simulator probably, it was like the reason you would buy a VR headset. Maybe Beat Saber too. This was innovation. I know it was a PC game before this, but this was something special. I mean, watch this. Time moves when you move. Sort of like, I don't know, The Matrix. I actually haven't seen The Matrix ever, so I don't really know. I can dodge it. What? This game sucks. Super Hot is a game that knows what it is, you know? It's a VR game at the end of the day. Whoop. And because of that, it can take advantage of the fact that it knows it's a VR game. Is meta the right word for this game? I'm not sure. You'll see in a second that this game was actually pretty ahead of its time. Because, oh my gosh, as it turns out, Super Hot is a VR game, which was huge for the time. Like I said, this was innovation. This was innovation at its peak. Anyway, I'm not gonna keep it too long. I'm gonna get sucked back into this virtual reality. Let's bring it back to the main guy himself. Me. Yes, those are some of the best VR games ever, but let's get back to the Oculus Rift. The Rift was released in 2016 and it was a hit. It sold around 500,000 units. Now that might not sound like a lot when you compare it to other gaming consoles, but when you compare it to VR consoles, oh wait, you can't, because it was the only VR console around. All right, I guess I lied about that. The HTC Vive was released in the same year, and it sold pretty well. It seemed like the age of virtual reality was upon us. The future was here. Pretty soon, these VR headsets would be the size of contacts. Probably. I'm sure they'll keep developing the technology. This is a real quote from a trustworthy source called Wikipedia. And it says, by 2016, there were at least 230 companies developing VR-related products. I couldn't name 230 companies. The Rift continued to be successful, but everything changed in 2019. Oculus releases the Rift S, an overall improvement upon the Rift, with the S meaning super cool. But that thing got overshadowed by what I think is the most impressive gaming development, maybe ever. The Oculus, wait for it, Quest. When this thingamabob here was announced, I was floored. For years, I had dreamed of being able to play VR, but it had always seemed like a fantasy. But when the Oculus Quest came out, VR became completely accessible. At $400, it wasn't cheap, but what is these days? Oh, right? Am I right? Just a little political banter for you. I was lucky enough to get my hands on the Oculus Quest, and I can tell you, this thing was like magic. I had never experienced something so immersive, and I haven't since. You finally didn't need a PC or a dedicated room to set up your headset in. All you had to do was turn it on, and that's it. You were good to go. When I clicked that button, I actually turned this thing off, so I can't really see anything now. Anyway, the Quest was amazing. This is where Oculus really started to dominate the VR field. The future was at their fingertips. The Quest 1 sold 1 million units. The Quest 2 sold 20 million units. That's a lot of headsets. VR gaming is here. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here. You know what? I'm gonna bet $1 million and say it's here to stay. Then Meta bought Oculus and changed the name. They changed the name of the Oculus Quest. Oculus is probably the most absolutely perfect name for a VR headset, and they changed it. And VR suffered because of it. Yes, I changed clothes, okay? Sometimes these take more than one day to film, okay? Get over it. I have other commitments. For some reason, somewhere along the way, Meta and Facebook, I think they're technically the same thing, became obsessed with the metaverse and Horizon Worlds. Horizon Worlds was somewhat marketed as the Oasis from Ready Player One, but it turned out to be much more horrendous than that. And I don't use that word lightly. Horizon Worlds sucked. Imagine Roblox, now make it worse. Now make it worse again. and again, and it's a little bit worse than that. Meta has spent $70 billion on the metaverse. Where the hell did that money go? Definitely not to the headsets. And it didn't. It mostly went to AR. It's like VR, but significantly less fun. And you can blame this thing for the fall of VR. You see, Meta, at some point, must have given up on VR. Mark Zuckerberg, I'm not really sure if you've heard of him, became obsessed with AR, specifically the Meta glasses. Put simply, they're camera glasses you can see out of. I guess that's just all glasses. Sorry, put simply, they're camera glasses you can see screens out of. And these glasses are great because now, more than ever, it's easier to record people without them knowing. That is just what I was looking for. At least with the headset, it was a little bit more noticeable. Hey Meta, record. Are you recording me? No, I'm not. Are you sure? It really looks like you're recording me. Look, I promise you, I'm not recording, okay? I'm not. I promise you, I'm not. All right, I'm sorry. Some people. Hey Meta, and recording, he's on to us. Now, for just a few $100s, you too can be the ultimate creep. These AR glasses are no joke. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're cool technology, but zoom in on me. A little bit closer. Bump me up a little bit. They're also terrifying. We are one step closer to being able to record things with your eyes. Your eyes! All in all, these AR glasses things, they're really just Snapchat glasses with extra steps. We peaked there. We've talked about the fate of VR in a gaming sense, but let's move on to the fate of VR in a working sense. Let me give you a hint. It was never really there to begin with. The Apple Vision Pro was released in 2024 at the steep price tag of $3,500. Shockingly, it didn't end up being a hit. A decent amount of people bought it just to test it out, but it wasn't necessarily a commercial success. The Apple Vision Pro was marketed as a VR-AR hybrid that would allow you to enhance your workflow and watch TV while pooping. I was actually able to test it out, and here are my thoughts. I think the Apple Vision Pro is stupid, and people do not need it. That being said, it is pretty dang impressive. The eye tracking inside the headset knows where you're looking at all times. All you gotta do is look at something, go boop, and you select it, and it works every time. It was such a unique experience that, and I am fully ashamed to admit this, I tried looking at something and pinching in real life, like 5 hours after I had tested the thing. Moving on from that, the technology is here. VR is getting better and better. The Oculus Quest 3 is proof of that. I refuse to call it the Meta Quest. Whatever people might say about it, it's a phenomenal headset, and I love it. So why does everyone seem to be giving up on VR? Especially VR gaming. It's fantastic and fun, but as of now, it's not going anywhere. And that's a shame, because VR really did seem like the console of the future. VR hasn't taken off, not because it's not a good way to play games, or not an interesting enough gaming console, but because the people that make the headsets just don't care enough about it. Or, put in a better way, they can make more money elsewhere. Of course. Moral of the story, blame AR, blame Facebook. Either way, that's all I have for today. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And if you didn't enjoy, thanks for making it this far. Keep an eye out for my next video. In the meantime, I'm gonna absorb my consciousness and soul inside the metaverse. Let's do this. Oh wait, this is a bad idea. I don't wanna do this. I want to live.